All right. So everything's looking good. We're live on TikTok. We're live on Facebook. Let me see if I can put these side by side actually. Um, there we go. There we go. What's up, everybody? I'm gonna give everybody a little bit longer to get on. That's what I'm supposed to put on Facebook. I just gotta check it on Facebook. But what's up? What's up? What's up? It's been a while, right? It's been like a week since I've seen you guys. Yeah, it has been like a week. I'm so tired. Hey, 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 hey. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known on social media as the Money Plug. I am a board certified credit repair specialist and credit consultant, and I'm a certified financial education instructor. I'm not fooling with you in that G. And I use my platform to teach you guys not only the importance of credit, but how to leverage your credit to improve your quality of life. Tonight's live is going to be a long one. If you are not going to be able to stay the whole time, you are more than welcome to follow me on YouTube. If you guys can see me on this camera, you'll see my YouTube is already up here. WWTMPD. What would the Money Plug do? Oh, hey, thank you. And if you are here, Instagram is really iffy with allowing me to save my lives. But in the event that you can't stay the whole time, like I said, you can always go to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, and you can always watch all of my replays. So obviously the number one question that I have been getting all weekend long, right, is what is going to happen with my credit score now that they're going to pay off my student loans. So I'm definitely going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some other things like budgeting. We're going to talk about, let's see what else. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff on the agenda today, if you want me to be honest with you. And I got a couple links for you guys too that, obviously I always try to give you guys like some free tools and stuff like that for you guys to use. So let's talk about it for a second. Now, Instagram, it really sucks for y'all because y'all don't get to see my cool little setup with banners and everything like that. But I'll try to be as descriptive as possible while I talk to you guys. If you don't understand something, make sure you put your comments and questions in the comments. That's what it was. And for those of you who are on TikTok and Facebook and all that other stuff, hey, y'all, you guys can always put your questions in the comments. It doesn't have to be related to what I'm talking about. I always go back and read the comments, right? So we'll go ahead. Hey. I didn't even see you there, Sandy. So I want to talk to you guys for a little bit. So first, I don't understand why your husband hasn't paid me yet. I'm sick. Stop playing, Rogers. If someone took a PPP loan and buy a house, is there any problem? I'm gonna be honest with you. That's such a vague question. I mean, I don't know. It's such a vague question. Anyway, so before we go ahead and dive into the student loan stuff, I actually want to tell you guys about the partnership that I did with Physical. So I partnered with a company whose whose goal actually is to try to make financial wellness accessible no matter what your socioeconomic status is. It's no secret that financial literacy is not a requirement for graduation, right, for most states. And so in low income communities, they usually don't have access to tools, which often lead to crime going up, people not going to college because they assume they can't afford it and things like that. So thanks to this partnership with Physical, I am able to provide free custom budget plans and action plans, as well as access to financial coaches and things like that for you guys to consult with. I am a huge believer in budgeting is a part of managing your credit properly. If you're not managing your money properly, you're not going to be able to manage your credit properly. And a budget is a huge part of that. So if you look at the link on your screen, you guys can't see it, but it's www.fisecal.com/themoneyplug. I also did a post on it on Instagram either last night or the night before with a girl talking in the guy's ear. So if you go to that post, you'll be able to see the link in full. But again, these are completely free. It takes about 10 minutes. All you will need is access to all of your kind of like income and expense information, maybe a couple goals that you've identified, and it will give you a printable, like customized budget plan. And the reason why I keep harping on the customized is because your finances is not a one size fits all, right? Your finances and your financial experience in life in general is as unique as you are. Nobody has the same experiences. And so your plan to get out of whatever situation you're in or to keep yourself out of certain situations needs to be as unique as your financial experience is. So again, this is completely free. So you guys definitely check it out. It's no excuse. As long as you have access to the internet, you'll have access to this resource. So I really wanted to put that out there again for you guys because it's all I've been talking about. lately. Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock, oh, hold on, I'm sorry, I didn't see these questions. What's the best platform to watch you on? Honestly, if I'm live, probably YouTube. And if it's just like videos that you want to watch to go through my content, TikTok. What is your opinion of debt services like AmeriCorps? I don't know what AmeriCorps is. Could you be a little bit more descriptive? I have no idea what that is. What does your company do concerning help with credit scores? So number one thing that I do is I'm a certified financial education instructor, and I teach people about credit literacy specifically. A lot of times when you're having financial literacy conversations, I notice that people tend to steer clear of conversations regarding credit outside of don't use it if you don't have it, which is horrible advice. And so one of the things that I do with my platform is making sure you guys have access to the resources and the tools and things that are already out there so that you can come to the financial decisions that you're making with the knowledge that you need. So pretty much, and you'll see it all over my website, is I provide credit literacy advice specifically for those in underbanked and underserved communities. I operate a credit repair company, but credit education is more so my passion. Yep, moved over from Instagram. So if you've been living under a rock, then you probably don't know about the student loan forgiveness plan that has been going on for a while. Like the conversation has been going on for a really, really, really long time. And I want to clarify something before we really dive into it. A lot of people are going around saying, well, he promised to get rid of all the student loans. He promised. That's not what Joe Biden promised. He promised you guys $10,000 in student loan forgiveness, and this is him delivering on that promise. Now, do I personally or professionally think that all of the student loans will be wiped out during his term? Absolutely not. But I do think this is a really good conversation for us to have as far as the price of a secondary education. However, please don't keep asking me. I do not think he's going to get rid of all the student loans, especially because he only has control over the government-backed student loans. When it comes to these private student loans, those are just loans that you have with private companies, and the government can't jump in on that unless they can prove that they violated some kind of law or something like that. So that's definitely something you guys want to consider when you're out here petitioning for people to get rid of all the things. T-Mobile Convergent does not offer pay to delete. Is there any way to have it removed if I pay it? So I'm just going to say this before we go back to the student loans. A lot of the phone companies, right, like Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, when it comes to these companies and you end up in collections, a lot of times your debt is not owned by a collection company. It's actually owned by T-Mobile or Verizon or whoever. It's just that they outsourced the debt management to a separate company. And because of that, technically, this is still an original creditor. So when you dispute and you're like, well, can you get this taken off? All you're going to keep getting in response is that legally, per the FCRA, right, they are obligated or have a duty to report the history associated with the account, even if they only reported the fact that you had negative history. And because this is an original creditor, it is their prerogative as far as like if they're going to remove the information, and I can tell you now they're not going to. So unfortunately, unless you can find some kind of violation, and it needs to be a very clear violation of your rights, it's not going to go away once you pay it. Now, if you do pay like a T-Mobile or Verizon or something once it was in collections, it's important for you all to understand that the debt will not re-age. It does not re-age another 7 years after you pay. It's still 7 years from the date of the first missed payment that led to the account being the original account being charged off. And if you don't know that, like what that date is, reach out to the original creditor. Hell, you already paid the debt. So, I mean, it's not like you got to keep ducking them out. Reach out to them and get all the information associated with your account so that you can manually calculate these dates. So that at 7 years, I think the limit is 7 years and 180 days. After that passes, that account needs to fall off. All right. And then last question before we start talking about student loans again. AmeriCorps basically works with you and your creditors to reduce your debt in negotiations, like almost half. The company makes payments on your behalf and settle each debt. So here's the thing that I don't like about debt. The companies that like offer to like pay your debt and then like you just pay them. What I really don't like about it is that a lot of them don't negotiate removals with the items that you have in collections. Now, that's not to say that every single company that's in collections will remove. However, they're not even trying to see if they can get some taken off. They don't care about that. Now, what I would suggest is doing this on your own. You don't need to be like you need to have like some extensive knowledge of the law to negotiate lower payments. It's literally as simple as I don't have the fucking money, so you can take this or you won't get nothing. That's literally what it boils down to. I mean, you haven't paid it for this long, unless they're taking you to court. Does it really make a difference? You get what I'm saying? So to be honest, I am dead set against these like debt management or debt consolidation companies. Also because especially for debt consolidation, the interest rates associated with those kinds of accounts are astronomical. And to be honest, if you had the money, you would have paid those people off. So why would I have more money, right? Because they're going to charge you more in interest to pay you. That makes no sense. So I'm against it, but I also I'm a realist, and I understand that for some people this is the only option that they have, but please, please, please weigh all of your options before making a decision like that. What if they still report it but transfer your debt paid to another bank? I don't know. You're gonna have to give me some more details about that. Hey, love, my sister's about to come on. LOL, I told her about her. Oh, thank you. So listen, let's go back to the student loans. Now, listen, if y'all got questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. I don't mind answering them. And it don't have to be about student loans. But when we're talking about these student loans, number one, let's talk about who qualifies for the student loans, right? Because I think that was one of the, well, what is it and who qualifies for it is probably like the two biggest questions I got. So the student loan forgiveness plan is the Biden-Harris administration's answer to the rising student loan crisis, right? Because, with COVID and everything that happened, nobody was going to have the money to pay their student loans, if you want me to be honest, unless you're making six figures, especially with inflation and all this other stuff. So their whole campaign was run on the fact that we're charging too much and they need some relief. So what it is if you make less than a specific amount, then you'll get $10,000 in student loan forgiveness. And if you got a Pell Grant and you make less than a specific amount, then you'll get $20,000 in student loan forgiveness. Now, if you've already paid your student loans off, no, you will not be getting a check, right? I'm just going to go ahead and let you know now. You're not going to be getting a check. And it is up to $10,000 or up to $20,000. And what I mean by that, by making that distinction, is if your student loan is less than what the forgiveness is for, they are only going to pay up to the amount of your student loan. So let's be clear, you're not going to get a refund check for that. They're only going to pay up to the amount of your student loan. Let's see. So yeah, okay, so somebody asked me about the income requirements, and I wanted to check before I said it. So if you are an individual and your annual income is less than $125,000, this means that you qualify for up to $10,000 in student loan forgiveness. Now, if you got a Pell Grant, obviously you get up to $20,000. If you are married or if you file your taxes, head of household, then you need to make less than $250,000. Now, a lot of people have been asking, like, well, how do we know if they have our information or not? For most of you, they will let you know that they have it. You have to understand that there are millions of people, right, who have student loans. And so they're not going to be getting to you today or tomorrow. But between now and December 31st, what's going to end up happening is they are going to look at the information and see whose information they already have and contact you to let you know that you do not have to resubmit it. However, if you are unsure if they have your information, or you know for a fact they don't have your updated information and you would like to provide it, an application is being generated. It is not created yet. They're still working on it. They said it will be available before December 31st. However, if you go to studentaid.gov, that's studentaid.gov, and you go all the way to, you click on the student loan cancellation announcement at the top, like it's like a bar up at the top, and go all the way to the bottom of the page. You can sign up for email updates from the U.S. Department of Education, and they will email you when the application becomes available so that you can submit the information you need to qualify for, I saw that, Phil, so that you can provide the information that you need to qualify for the student loan forgiveness. Now, also, I just so y'all clear, y'all know that they extended the fact that you don't have to pay all the way up to the end of the year. So the first student loan payments will be coming out in January, just so y'all track it. So that was what the student loan forgiveness program was, right? Like this is their answer to what's going on right now. Now, when we talk about who qualifies for the loan and what information they're going to use, more often than not, they're going to use like your tax information, because that's where your reported annual income is. So if you haven't filed taxes for a while, or whatever the extenuating circumstances may be, I would definitely make sure that you click the link on the studentaid.gov website so that you can be updated to see what alternative information, if any, they're going to be accepting to determine whether or not you qualify for the student loan forgiveness. Does the Pell Grant option only apply to a certain year or since you've been in school? So according to the studentaid.gov website, right? And then I'm literally going straight from the website. It doesn't say that specifically it has to be one particular year or all the entire period that you were in school. All it says is that if you've received the Pell Grant, you qualify for up to $20,000 in student loan forgiveness if you are under the income threshold. That is what we're going with, or as far as everybody in my community, like the financial community is going with. But if any more information comes out, obviously you'll be the first to know if you sign up for their emails. Hold on, I got some more comments. Hold on. I'm dead. No, Megan, they're not gonna pay for it. Hold on, I got some other questions. Do pay to delete letters with a check work? I don't know why you would send a check without already having the guarantee that they're going to remove it, but I mean, I guess. I mean, pay to delete letters work. It's just who are you sending the letter to and what kind of day they're having, because it is a company's choice as to whether or not they want to go with the pay to delete or not. And it has to also be an attractive option, right? You can't offer them $5 on a $20,000 debt and think that they're going to just take it, right? So you also, there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration with the pay to delete, but I mean, you don't have to send the check with the pay to delete offer. It's kind of weird when you don't have a guarantee that they're going to remove the item. Oh, thank you. I was able to get the account off of Equifax because of them being in trouble, but Experian and TransUnion won't. So here's the thing about when you're disputing with the credit bureaus, all of them share their results with each other for each investigation. However, they do not have to act off of another company's results. So just because you prove it to Equifax don't mean that you've met that threshold for proving it with Experian and TransUnion. So that's just something you might want to kind of keep in the back of your mind when you guys are doing this disputing. Why do we have to wait 20 years? And if you get a job, that changes? I have no idea. Where is the link to apply? If you would like to sign up for notifications from the Department of Defense so that you'll find out when the application comes out, you have to go to studentaid.gov. And then at the top of the page, it's going to have it says something about like student loan cancellation. You'll click on it. All the way at the bottom of that page is where you will find the link to sign up for the emails. What are the pros and cons of voluntarily surrendering a vehicle? When it doesn't matter if your vehicle is repossessed voluntarily or involuntarily, it has the same exact impact. Your score is going to drop. It's going to say repo on your credit. You are so silly. You are so silly. It's going to be negative no matter which way you do it. But I mean, if you don't have the money to pay, you don't have the money to pay. So I mean, that's one of those personal decisions that you'll have to make. After looking yourself in the mirror and kind of admitting those hard truths. I cannot afford this car payment. And I can't afford it today. I'm not going to be able to afford it tomorrow or the day after that. So should I turn it in now, or are they going to have to come snatch it out my driveway next month? You got to kind of think about it like that. I hope it can be deferred or at least not automatic. I'm trying to add in a master's. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Did they release the student loan forgiveness application? No, not yet. Time limit for your credit file to update once your student loans are no longer in default. So typically they say to give them about 45 business days when any changes are made to your student loans, but that's 45 business days from the time they're reported. So that also plays a part in it. It depends on the policies of the company who is servicing your loans, when they report, and then 45 business days from that. Can it be removed easily from a credit report? Can what be removed easily? No. So here's the thing about a repossession. So there are multiple ways to dispute anything, right? So some people are obsessed with Metro 2. Some people prefer factual disputing, which is what I specialize in, is the factual disputing. And so it really depends on what method you're using and the circumstances regarding your repo. Those two things together would determine how easy or hard it is to get it removed. But surrendering it is not going to make it easier to get it taken off. No, I do not sell trade lines, and the purchase or sale of trade lines violate the terms and conditions of the accounts themselves. And so the companies can sue you, and yes, you can be charged for that. So no, I do not support the purchase or sale of trade lines. I've had my Ready with Fresh water cooler outside for 2 weeks waiting on pickup because I can't afford it anymore. I'm about to start charging them a storage fee. I cannot. Okay, Capital One sold a debt to portfolio recovery in 2017, and it's still showing up with a balance showing. My state statute is 3 years for credit cards. What can I do to get this removed and/or resolved? Just because the statute of limitations has expired does not mean that they can't report it. It's still eligible to report for 7 years from the date of first delinquency. Now, 2017, just because they sold it to collections in 2017 doesn't mean that that's the date you go by, if that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense. So you need to kind of do a little digging to see when was that first missed payment. That's going to tell you when that account is going to fall off. But I mean, it's not going to just come off by itself. And unless you can identify like an error in the way that it's reporting, Capital One is usually on the money when it comes to the information that they're providing portfolio recovery. But what I will say is portfolio recovery is a company that does pay to deletes. So if you negotiate a pay to delete with them, you pay them in exchange for them taking the account off. If a charge-off was sold to a debt buyer and you paid it, but the OG creditor markets it as sold but not paid, does show a zero balance but not paid, is that a violation? Huh? That's that question confused me a little bit. If a charge-off was sold to a debt buyer and you paid it, so they sold it to somebody else and you paid them, and the OG creditor markets it as sold but not paid, does show a zero balance but not paid, is that a violation? Once they sell that debt, they don't report nothing else about it. They can't update nothing else about it, like none of that, because they no longer owe the debt. So whether you pay this new company or not, that's not what they're reporting, if that makes sense. I think I understood your question. That was really confusing. My credit specialist told me to surrender it and she would be able to remove it from my report. Oh, well, if you trust her, I mean, I'm not here to get in between y'all relationship. If you trust her and that's what she told you, then Shorty better deliver, because it is illegal to false advertise your credit repair company. So I really hope Shorty can deliver, because that's crazy. How do you get late payments removed? Oh, that's a long story. Not necessarily. So with late payments, and then after this, we'll go back to talking about student loans again. I just wanted to answer some questions. But with late payments specifically, what you have to understand is that the Fair Credit Reporting Act makes it completely legal for them to report your payment history as long as it is factual. So if they can prove that you was late, then unfortunately they can report it. Now, right? Here's the kicker. So with credit cards specifically, and this is why I kind of get on y'all about learning these consumer protection laws. All right, so inside of the FCRA is other laws. There's one known as the Fair Credit Billing Act, or FCBA, and this only applies to credit cards. But inside of that, it says that it is illegal for a company to report you as late for any reason unless they can prove that they gave you access to your monthly statement no less than 21 days before your payment is due. So, like, if you can use these consumer protection laws and exploit small violations that these companies may have committed, or they just don't have proof that they didn't commit, if you want me to be honest, then you can use that to negotiate your forgiveness. Does that make sense? Or you can just ask for it. But unfortunately, late payments, if it's accurate, it can report. Yes, I am aware of consumer laws. No, that's a lot of people's problem, to be honest, Philip. He said, if I get this high credit usage down, I'll be in the money. Yeah, that's a lot of people. All right, so we've talked about who qualifies for the student loan forgiveness plan. We talked about what it is. Now, if you qualify for the student loan forgiveness, right, and if given the money, it is not going to pay off your student loans, there's going to be no change to your credit score specifically. Like when it comes to loans and how it applies to your credit score, nobody cares how much you owe. It's all about, do you still owe? If yes, this. If no, this. Nobody cares about the balance of your loan. Now, as far as your things like debt to income ratio, especially for those of you who are in the home buying process, obviously that's important for you guys. But as far as your credit score, if you qualify for the student loan forgiveness but it will not pay off your student loans, then it will not do anything for your credit score at all. It's just like a thank you for this. Now I'm going to start my payments in January kind of thing. Now, if you qualify for the student loan forgiveness and it will pay your student loans off, this is where we kind of need to have a conversation. I've seen a lot of dialogue, I'll say that, on Twitter about people talking about how credit is a scam because how am I paying something off and my score goes down? It's not that this is a scam. It's just that you don't understand how it works. And so it is easier for you to blame the system instead of blaming yourself for doing a little digging. And the reason why your score drops, and this is not just student loans, it's any loan, any credit card, any account. Whenever you have an account, right, and it's closed for any reason, it doesn't matter if you paid your loan off early, if you paid it off on time, if you closed a credit card, or if they closed your credit card, you are going to lose points. Period. Right? And the reason why you're going to lose points is because this account is no longer listed as an open, actively reporting account. The thing about your credit score, it is not how good are you at paying debt. What it is it is a numerical representation of the risk that a company will be taking if they either give you a service or give you money and ask you to pay them on the back end. And it's based on your current financial status, your current ability to pay open, actively reporting debt. And because once an account closes, it is no longer open and actively reporting, it moves to the history section, right? Because it's no longer providing any information of value. Any information that it's reporting, it's likely not going to change. So it doesn't hold as much weight as it used to now that it came out of this column and went to this column. You get what I'm saying? That is why you lose points. It's not because it's a student loan. It's not because whatever. It's literally just because the account closes once you pay it off. That's with any loan. Now, the thing is, for most of you, right, it's going to be a harsher drop in your points than others. And the reason why is because for most of you, yes, your student loans is the oldest account that you have. And for a lot of you, it's the only account that you have. A lot of you have not been building credit in the meantime, in between time, right? I know that sounds really crazy, but I always use the same analogy. For those of y'all who've been following me for a while, I always use the same analogy, and low key, I can't think of anything else. But you got to think of your credit, right? Your credit score is a house and you live in the floodlands. And every pole that you put up under your house to kind of keep it out of the water, right, to keep it sturdy, these are accounts on your credit profile. So if you have 5 student loans, that means you have 5 poles. But if you don't add anything else up under that house over time, right, those poles get beat on by the water, by the weather, right? They get older and older and older, and eventually those poles will break. This is when you pay off the account, right? Whenever you pay off your account, the account closes. And so that's going to be a huge blow to your credit. And if you don't have other supporting poles, right, then unfortunately you're going to sink. Your credit score is going to tank. This is why it is important for you to be consistently building your credit. That doesn't always mean that you got to get loans. It doesn't always mean that you have to incur more debt in order to be considered debt savvy, I guess you could say. I don't know why that obsession is, I don't know why those two things are tied together so much, but really, you just got to make sure that you're building your credit properly. I'm not saying you have to have 1,000 credit cards, but the ones you do have, you need to make sure that you have consistently low reporting utilization. I'm not saying you got to have 1,000 loans, but if you have any, on-time payment history would be nice. You get what I'm saying? Like, as long as you're doing those things outside of your student loan, when your student loan comes off, yeah, you'll lose points, right? But you'll get them back. A lot of people are saying, oh my God, my score is going to go down. But what they're not telling you is that it's temporary. You have to understand that there's no set amount of points that any one action will incur, no matter if it's a good action or a bad action. There's no specific amount of points. It's all based on your financial history and what's already reporting on your credit. So how many points you're going to lose, how long it's going to take you to recover those points that you lost, all of that is determined by what's already reporting on your credit. That was another question I kept getting. How many points am I going to lose? If I miss student loan payments and then consolidate my loans, what are my options to remove negative marks from my credit report? I actually did a video on this on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is WWTMPD. What would the money plug do? And what you can do is once a student loan is closed, right? A lot of times paperwork get tossed out. They don't genuinely care about it anymore, right? Because it's paid off. They got their money. They don't care. And so what you could do is you could petition the original company, so the first company that had your loans, that has the late payments, and you could request a copy of your promissory note. Remember, your promissory note is the thing that ties you to this debt, that creates the obligation that you had to this debt, because you signed saying, hey, I'm gonna pay this shit off. And so if they can't provide that, then that kind of severs your tie to the debt. And if that's the case, then they can't report. If they cannot prove that if they don't have evidence, right, that you are the party that owes this debt, then unfortunately for them, they can't report it. So that's one tactic you could use to remove the negative marks. If you can identify some kind of way that they're violating your rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you can use whatever way you feel like your rights were violated. You can use those violations to remove the previous history. But just keep in mind, when you remove student loans from your credit report, it's worse than paying it off, right? It's worse than paying it off because you're losing all of the history associated with it. So for a lot of you, you did undergrad, that's 4 years. Student loans were all deferred. So that's 4 years worth of on-time payment history. So if you, and then you started being late, right? So if you remove all 4 of those years, it'll be as if it never existed. And so all of those on-time payments, which we all know payment history is 35% of your credit score, you take that out of there, your score is going to go down because you're going to lose all that history. It'll be as if it never happened. If the company provides the promissory note, then unfortunately, you're going to have to try a different plan of attack because they've proven your obligation to that debt. For every dispute that you guys kind of throw out there, you know there's a solution for it, right? And so if they do have a solution for it, that doesn't mean give up. It just means change your perspective. Look at it from a different way. Try to find another violation or another error or anything like that. I see some people are asking for a refund on payments made. I didn't qualify for Pell Grants. I owe $24K as of today. I don't see a point for me requesting a refund in my case. Can you talk about refunds? You will not be getting a refund. I guess that's the end of the conversation right there. They will not be issuing refunds. They have been very open about that. Very open about that. So that's why they're saying like you can get up to 10K or up to 20K, because let's say, for example, and I talked about this earlier, if your student loan is less than what they're offering for the full amount of the forgiveness, they're only going to pay up to whatever your loan is and then pay it off. If your student loan's already paid off, they're not going to give you anything. People don't always realize that your score will constantly fluctuate, and those few points won't affect your interest rates on a loan. It's the big fluctuations that make a difference. Exactly. And if you've been building your credit properly, when your student loans are closed, once they're paid off, it's going to be like a culture shock or whatever to your credit, but it will level itself out. It will correct itself. And as long as you're consistently paying your bills on time, low credit utilization, those kinds of things, you'll get those points back. It's temporary. Stop panicking. Which FICO score model is for apartment renting? Whew. Okay, so that depends. Now, different companies use different scores. It really just depends on what tenant screening service they use, if you want me to be honest. And for those of you who are not sure of the different tenant screening services, if you go to my website, www.themoneyplug.co, in the online store, there is something called the Complete CRA list for 2022. It's the Consumer Reporting Agency list. In that list, it's completely free. I got it from the CFPB. What it is, it's a list of all of the third-party reporting agencies, and there's a section all on tenant screening. And it lists all of the people that they go to check your tenant reports. And that they will also disclose for each of those companies, if they generate scores, which score is used when they generate it. Will we lose points if it decrease the amount? So going back to what we were saying earlier, if you qualify for student loan forgiveness, right, but it will not pay off your student loans, then no, your score is not going to change at all. However, if you qualify for student loan forgiveness and it will pay off your student loan, your score is going to go down. When does the 20K relief show up? Do you have to do something to get it? There is no set date for when it will go into effect. Oh, thank you so much for the gift. There is no set date for when it will go into effect. However, what they are saying is that they will have more information out to you guys by December 31st, including an application for those of you who are unsure if the government has the information that's required, or if you just want to submit it to be kind of like careful. But for most of you, if you've ever had to like fill out a FAFSA and provide like your tax information, 9 times out of 10, they got access to your information and they already know whether or not you qualify for it. If we pay off student loans, would it be smart to get a long-term loan like a car? I mean, no, definitely not right away because your score is going to drop. Remember when you pay the loan off? So I would not suggest going out and get a car. And this is not a reason to go get a car. Right. But I mean, I feel like one should not be influenced by the other, especially when it comes to long-term debt like student loans and cars and things like that. If you do not have an absolute need for it, you don't need it. As long as you have a cushion to soften the blow of losing the credit age of student loans, the credit age is still going to be there. If your student loan closes today, your longest account will still be 11 years old. So you're not losing the credit age. The only way you would lose the credit age is when that account comes off of your credit. And that won't happen until 7 years after the date of forgiveness. You're not losing the credit age. The reason why you're going to lose points is because it is now going from an open, actively reporting status to closed, and it's the complete history. How do you wash a weighted blanket? Can I just throw it in my washer? Oh my God, that's a good question. Oh shit. I think mine is still packed up. That's a good question. I don't know, man. Go on the website and then tell me what you find. What about tier 1 credit cards? I have Navy secured and Merrick secured. Should I get any more? I don't know. That's not telling me enough. You telling me what cards you have does not tell me whether or not you should get more credit cards. A lot of you are getting cards for the wrong reason, in the sense that you guys are just getting cards because you hear people have these cards, and so you get them because you want to have the profile they have. You guys got to understand, all of the cards and stuff that you are adding should support your financial goals, should support the spending that you're already doing, not encourage you to spend more, that sort of thing. So you would know if you need to add another credit card to your profile, right? Because you would know, like, I'm not at my financial goal yet, but this will get me there. You get what I'm saying? Like, just telling me what cards you have doesn't tell me whether or not you should add another one. It is subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Oh, thank you, babe. It didn't distinguish between the two, if that's what you're asking me. If you go to studentaid.gov, it does not distinguish between the two in the announcement. Can you explain for the people the difference between being pre-approved versus pre-selected for cards? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good question. Hold up. That's a really good question. Okay. So here's the thing. And I actually did a video of this on TikTok about being pre-selected and pre-approved is two different things, especially when you're talking about things like cars versus credit cards, right? So being pre-selected for a credit card is when they like got your information from like Innovis or something like that. And they're like, listen, you got a credit profile that looks very similar to a lot of our customers. So we want you to apply for our card because we're kind of sure that you might get it, right? A pre-approval is when you submit some information and they actually have a more solid understanding of your finances. Like when you get pre-approved for a home, you've submitted your information and now you're pre-approved, right? Pending some sort of action. And so pre-selected and pre-approval are two different things. So even though they are interchangeably, I guess, used, and I guess that's kind of like our fault in the financial community for not making that distinction. But like, just because you're pre-selected for a card does not mean you're going to get that card. And just because you're pre-approved for a home does not mean that something can't pop up or happen or whatever the case may be that will take away that pre-approval. It ain't yours till it's yours. But a lot of people, and this is where the opt-out pre-screen comes into play, a lot of people will opt out of some of the consumer reporting agencies who do those pre-selection kind of like letters, so that you don't receive those in the mail, so that you're not even tempted. A lot of people, you can always tell when you're working on your credit or when your credit score is going up, because then you get like this huge influx of like offers to apply for credit cards and things like that. If you do the opt-out pre-screen, and again, I did a video for that on my TikTok page. If you do the opt-out pre-screen, that will drastically reduce the amount of those that you get in the mail. Trucking with us for life. The amount of your credit card does not matter. What kind of credit card you have does not matter. When it comes to questions like, should I add a new account to my credit profile? And should I add these kinds of accounts to my credit profile? All of that, you can't make those kinds of decisions unless you know what your credit profile looks like, right? I don't care about the cards. What's your credit score? How many accounts do you have open? What's your payment history like? What are your financial goals? There's a lot of things that go into making that decision. That's not something that should be done lightly anyway. But so like, that's why I'm saying I can't answer that question for you. All right. Now, we talked about how your credit score is going to drop once your student loan is paid off, and how it's temporary and all this other stuff. But how do you get those points back, right? Like what are you supposed to do to recapture some of those points? Because no, I mean, y'all are obsessed with points on a credit score, right? Even though I tell y'all like little fluctuations are normal and expected. Y'all, thank you so much for the rose. Y'all go down a point and y'all is in here like in tears. Like, first of all, take a deep breath. Small fluctuations in your credit score is expected, especially because 30% of your score is directly tied to your credit utilization. And for those of you who don't have large balance credit cards and things like that, we kind of expect your utilization to be a little high, right? So take a deep breath. It's not the end of the world. Now, some ways that you can recapture these points if you do find yourself kind of lower than what you would like to be after your student loans are paid off. Number one, the first place you always want to look at when you need a couple points is your credit utilization. Now, that's 30% of your score, and it's your overall credit utilization, not per card. A lot of times when I'm talking to people about this, they be like, yeah, because this card is 10%. I mean, this card is 30% and this card is 30%. So why am I not at 30%? That's not what it means. What it means is you take all of your credit cards and lines of credit and you add up the total credit limit, right? And then you will manually calculate either 30% or less, or whatever your goal, like your target number is. And then that amount is the maximum you can have on all of the cards at the time they report to the credit bureaus. You also have to take into account the fact that they don't all report at the same time. So it's going to take you a little wiggle room, but you're going to have to sit down with a calendar and be like, this credit card, my statement date is this. This credit card, my statement date is this. Now, something that I did was I added up all of my credit cards and I calculated what is 10%, right? What is 10% of my overall credit usage, right? Or available credit utilization that I want to have. And so once I had that amount, I split that up amongst my credit cards. At a maximum, this is what can be reporting about when this credit card reports to the credit bureaus. At a maximum, this is what I want this card to be set at. And obviously, it fluctuates depending on what I have going on that month, as far as what I'm putting on my card and stuff like that. But I set that up in the beginning of every month. And then as the month goes on, I stick to my plan. This is another reason why budgeting is really, really, really important, because this allows you to when you set that budget, that's you holding yourself accountable. If you're not sticking to a budget, that's because you're not telling yourself the truth. You have a problem. You have a problem. And if you're not managing your money properly, you are not going to be able to manage your credit properly. It is impossible. Impossible. But by best managing my credit utilization and having it, when it does report, it reports as low as possible. I am maximizing the points that I get out of that section. They want to see something under credit utilization, right? They want something, at least 1%. However, right, the lower it is, the more points you get from this section. So that's important for you to understand. That's why I always say that's the section to start with if you're trying to get points back. Another thing that you can do to get points is just adding accounts with on-time payment history. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Markia, when you add accounts to your credit, your score goes down too. All right, but you already lost points when they close that one, so you can take a couple more points and drop because you'll get it back. Now, you don't have to go into debt to add accounts to your credit profile. And what I mean by that is there are other options, right? For those of you who are still renting, look into rent reporting. You can always contact your landlord to see if they'll do it with a service that they prefer, or you can do it yourself with companies like Rent Boom or Rent Reporting or Rental Karma. You know what I'm saying? I personally prefer Boom Pay, but that's my preference. But you can do rent reporting and report. It's like up to 2 years of previous rental history and then the ongoing history, right? That's adding on-time payments without putting you further in debt. There are also things called prepaid cards. A lot of people confuse them with secure cards, but prepaid credit cards, right? Prepaid credit cards are cards that are actually debit cards or operate like debit cards, and then they just report to the credit bureaus every month that you use it. So it's not necessarily putting you in debt because all you're doing is moving money, not necessarily borrowing money. So for example, I got $50. I know I go to Starbucks every month. So what I could do is put my Starbucks budget on my little debit card. Y'all know how I love the Credit Sesame Cash card. So I will put my $50 for my Starbucks on my Credit Sesame Cash card and then just top up my Starbucks card from there. That's my purchase for the month. Boom, it's going to report on-time payment history. I spent the same exact amount of money I was already spending. It's just that now I have another account reporting on-time payment history. So it is possible for you to build credit without putting yourself further and further in debt. And that might be key for those of you who lose a lot of points once your student loans are paid off. My cousin from Atlanta thinks credit repair is legal in Georgia. Tell him. So here's the thing about doing credit repair or paying for credit repair in the state of Georgia. Let me say that. In the state of Georgia, it is illegal to provide for-profit credit repair services if the person that you are hiring is not a lawyer, a nonprofit organization, or a real estate broker, not a real estate agent. If they are not one of those three things, it is currently illegal. But this is where voting kind of comes into play, because a congressman, or I guess it's a congressman, I guess is what it would be called, in Georgia, has introduced a bill that would amend that law. Now y'all just got to go vote for it. They're trying to change it so that it would bring legal credit repair to Georgia so that y'all can stop using them illegal as CPNs. But y'all know that's a whole nother conversation. My student loans were transferred to Mohila, who reported my loans as closed, lost 49 points. Now Mohila is reporting it open. When my student loans are paid off, my score will drop again. Yes, it will. My due date and statement date are 4 to 5 days apart. Is this normal? No, you're not looking at it correctly. So legally, your statement date has to be no less than 21 days before your payment due date. And so what that means is you need to look at your billing cycle. Everybody knows that you pay after the billing cycle is over. So let's say my billing cycle is from August 1st to August 25th, right? From the 1st to the 25th. This means that my statement date is August 26th. That is when my bill will become available. However, my bill won't be due until 21 days after that, which would be in September, right? So that's that payment that I would make in September. But even though I'm making the payment in September, it's for my August billing cycle. Does that make sense? So it's not that your statement date and your due date is 4 to 5 days apart. That statement date is for the next billing cycle. That due date is for your previous billing cycle. Are the 3 credit bureau scores within the same range? What do you mean? Like what do you mean? There's multiple scores. If you paid off your credit cards with a loan and your score went down, do I have to use the cards for my score to go back up, or do I just keep paying off the loan and then it will go back up? So making payments on a loan outside of the fact that you're making payments and that's positive payment history is not going to give you points. Like as your balance goes down, that's not going to raise your credit score. If you paid off your credit cards with a loan and your score went down because probably you paid it all the way off, which gave you 0% utilization, that following month, you should get some of those points back. Hopefully, if you're doing everything else properly. But like, making the payments and the balance going down is not going to be what makes your points go up. It's going to be the on-time payments that's associated with that loan. I DoorDash and Instacart on my credit cards and always use my Amazon card for Amazon purchases. I'll take that cash back and pay off my statement balance. Actually, that's really smart. What's the latest with the FICO 10T? So, I mean, there's nothing new about it. It's been out for a while. It's available publicly. You guys can check your FICO 10T and 10 scores. It's just that no lenders have come out and overtly said that they're using FICO 10 or FICO 10T. So it's kind of just sitting there for no reason. Like, we know, like nobody's using it, essentially. Now, for those of you who are in the home buying process and your student loans will be paid off, with this student loan forgiveness. And I would guesstimate, I would say we might start seeing forgiveness in like a year. So if you're within like 6 months, definitely communicate with your lender to talk about your options, right? Because you want to make sure that they're aware, like, hey, I qualify for this loan forgiveness. So if it happens, will this hurt my chances with the house? You need to communicate effectively, right? But for those of you where home buying is in the future, probably like between a year and a half, you got time to add stuff to your credit to kind of cushion that blow. Like we talked about earlier, adding accounts to your profile to really cushion the blow of losing your student loans. But you have time, so you don't have to panic. Now, if you're within 6 months, definitely communicate with your lender because we have no idea when it's going to happen, but just communicate with your lender. I guess I can't see why the payoff doesn't help your debt ratio thingy. Your debt to income ratio and your credit score are 2 different things, and they are not related. So even though paying down your loan will not affect your credit score, it will affect your debt to income ratio. If my FICO auto score 9 is 700 with Experian, would the other two be in the same range, or will there be a major difference? It depends on what's reporting. So legally, a company does not have to report to all three credit bureaus. So if they're only reporting to Experian, then it's likely that that account is not being factored into the credit score for Equifax and TransUnion. So it really just depends on what accounts are reporting where, as far as how close together your scores will be. These are some really good questions, guys. And honestly, I think that was it as far as student loans went. That was it as far as student loans went, for what I wanted to talk about. So what other questions you guys got today? I also want to remind you, so for those of you who weren't in the room when I first started, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known on social media as the Money Plug. I am a certified financial education instructor and board certified credit repair specialist. I use my platform to teach all of you wonderful people all about the power of credit, resources, tools, that sort of thing, and how to use your credit to improve your quality of life. I am pushing on you guys, right? Y'all know I rarely keep talking about shit over and over and over unless it's important. But I partnered recently with a company known as Physical to provide you guys with access to free customized budget and action plans. This is crucial to managing your credit properly. For the majority of you, the reason why you can't keep your credit together, even if you get it repaired, is because you're not managing your money properly. If you're not managing your money properly, you're not going to manage your credit properly. And this is one of the major reasons why I partnered with this company, giving you free access to custom budget plans. You literally have no excuse as to why you can't get this done. So www.fisecal.com/themoneyplug. Free custom budget plans. And they also give you access to speak to a financial coach if that's something you want to do. How can you buy a house in a good way? With cash? I don't know. Does a 4K secure credit card help improve your score? It doesn't matter how. Here's the thing. Y'all be so caught up on, I want a 25K card and I want this and I want that. That you got to look at your profile. Just because you want it does not mean that it's going to work for you. A lot of you apply for cards just because it's popular in your credit repair group or your first time home buyers group on Facebook, and everybody got this card. And so now you have to have this card, because that's exactly what happened with Navy Federal. I don't know why y'all are so obsessed with Navy Federal when there are tons of other credit unions that you guys actually qualify for. But I'm not fooling with y'all. But you have to look at what's good for you and your current spending habits and your credit profile. So I can't answer that question for you. Can't get a platinum card with a 320. Come on now, work it up, period. Say the website again. Y'all should see it on the banner. www.fisecal.com/themoneyplug. Here, let me see if I can type it in the comments. Boop. Boom. There we go. I put it in the chat. Not now. Do you have a list of some of those credit unions available? Look in your area. So most credit unions are like local. So look local to you. You can literally just Google so I'm from Baltimore. So if I Google credit unions in Baltimore and then use my zip code that I used to live in, MEQ, CQ, John Hopkins Credit Union, Tower, Federal, or Tower Credit Union, PenFed, those kind of credit unions will pop up in my area because that's what was there. And then using that list, I would see what I qualify for, and then I would go ahead and get an account with them. But y'all got, listen, Navy Federal got y'all in a chokehold. What are some good credit unions to join? Credit unions, period, in my opinion, are like top tier when it comes to opening up accounts. One, because they are more customer friendly, I guess you could say. So any credit union, but again, this is also one of those things that kind of ties to what's important to you. What do you want out of a relationship with the lender? And you got to kind of look at it like that. Can you explain good debt versus bad? No, for real. Can you explain good debt versus bad debt? Okay. I want to say yes, but that's going to take, I really feel like that's going to take too long. Okay. So there is a such thing as good debt versus bad debt, but I also feel like that's subjective, right? So it depends on what your goals are. What are your financial wellness plans? Because what I would consider good debt for me and for my financial future, and to get to where I'm trying to get, other people might not agree. So That's a good question for a separate live. I'm going to write that down because we definitely got to do that. Yeah, good debt makes revenue and debt creates problems. No, for real. That's instantly what I thought of, Philip. Like, this sounds like I should do a YouTube video explaining this. This is a really good one. I'm definitely going to do that. Do you think Experian is an accurate model? So here's the thing. A lot of you don't understand that there are multiple credit scores. And I don't mean just Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I mean that within those credit bureaus even, there are multiple credit scores. There's your FICO 2, your FICO 4, your FICO 5. There's your FICO Bank Card 8. There's your FICO Auto Score 9. You know, there's so many different scores. So it's not that when you're looking at one that it's more accurate than the other. It's just that this is how this company calculates your credit score. What I typically tell people is that when you want something, so let's say I want the Amex Platinum card. So matter of fact, no, I'll use the Apple Card because I know that one off the top of my head, right? So the Apple Card, I need to know I want the Apple Card. That's my goal. So what I would do is I would do research and say, okay, so what credit score does the Apple Card pull? And then I would go look at that report. And then I would work specifically on that credit score and credit report and credit bureau and creditors affecting that credit report, right? To improve that score. Because it's not that this score is more accurate than the other ones. This is the score that the company that I want to partner with is using. So I need to make that score more attractive to them. Hi, everyone. What is the best way to get old addresses and hard inquiries removed? For addresses, first of all, you need to make sure that all of your actively reporting accounts, you need to make sure that they're not reporting these old addresses. That's the most important part, right? So once you do that, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to send in a letter and you're going to say, this is who I am. This is where I live. This is my social. This is my birthday. This is my previous address. Whatever it is you want reporting, you're going to type all of that up. You're going to say anything outside of this needs to be removed, right? Boom, you send it in. They'll send you something back telling you what they'll remove, if anything, and why they're not going to remove it. Now, if they did not remove the information, what I would suggest to you, and I typically do this with, is it Equifax or is it Experian? I want to say it's Experian. I could be wrong. Y'all know I get them too confused. I think I'm dyslexic, but I want to say it's Experian. You log on to Experian and you'll do something called an enhanced personal information update. I used to have a video pinned about it. Another YouTube video. But what it is you're going to use the back door of Experian to identify the relationship between that address and the account that's reporting that address. And what I mean by that is if you pretend like you're about to file a dispute through Experian, it'll take you to their dispute center. Inside of the dispute center, they offer an extended credit report. So it's like your regular report on steroids, right? And in that, you'll notice that next to each account, there's something known as an address identification number. That address identification number will show you exactly what address this account is reporting. If you can identify the relationship between the address that you want to get removed and the account that's reporting it, you can do a more targeted dispute so that you can sever the ties between the two, refresh a new address identification number, and then they won't match. So it'll be easier for that to fall off. Boom. Now, when it comes to inquiries, you want to play on the law of permissible purpose. The law of permissible purpose states that a company cannot report an inquiry unless they have your written consent or expressed authorization that they can do so, right? So what you'll do is you'll reach out to the credit bureaus, or you can reach out to the company individually and you'll say, listen, you guys are reporting an inquiry on my credit. Prove to me that I gave you permission. If they cannot demonstrate that you gave them authorization, they have to remove the inquiry. And so it's literally that simple. Is it normal to get an email response to a mailed-in dispute? Yes. What a lot of you don't do is read the terms and conditions when you guys sign up for like Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax online. Inside of there, you give them consent to email you responses to any of your disputes and things like that. Now, you can revoke your consent so that you can tell them, like, listen, I want all of my responses in the mail. No, you no longer have permission to email me. You cannot call me. You can't send me a pigeon. You got to write me a letter. You can say it like that. And that's easy. It's just a letter that you would send to the credit bureaus, as well as deactivating your online account. But when you sign up for these online accounts, you are giving them consent to do that. Is the Apple Card a good card to get? I keep getting pre-approval notifications from Experian for an Apple Card. When it comes to adding new accounts to your profile, you have to look at what you already have and where you're trying to be in order to identify whether or not a card works for you. For example, like especially once you start getting into cards that offer perks, right? You need to make sure the perks that you're getting are in kind of like cahoots with the money you're already spending. Because I don't want to get a card that's going to give me Marriott points knowing I only stay at the Hilton, right? Makes no sense. I don't need that card no matter how easy it is to get it, no matter if I'm pre-approved. It doesn't matter if they already have it and they want to drop it in my hand right now. If it's not supporting my financial wellness goals, no, you do not need the account. So that's the first thing you're going to have to look at. Ooh, y'all got some good questions today. What other questions y'all got for me? Can't touch this. I don't know why that's stuck in my head. What else y'all got for me? What? Y'all don't got no more questions for me? Y'all know I'm gonna get off if y'all ask me nothing else. I get off quick. Y'all know me. I don't know if y'all have noticed, for those of you who are on TikTok, but I actually took a break from TikTok. It's been almost probably like a week since I've actually posted on TikTok. And the reason why is because with everything that's going on with the algorithm and all this other stuff, it's just getting like the views just ain't viewing like they was. And it's annoying having to take my videos down, re-upload them like an hour or 2 hours later and doing all that stuff. So I actually took a break from TikTok because it was stressing me out. Gonna be honest with you. But I did post a video today. I will be back posting videos every day this week. I just needed to take a step back and kind of reevaluate some stuff. And I do have some really cool announcements. Y'all know I always go live and tell y'all first. But I have some really cool stuff coming up next month. Oh man, it's a lot. I have a lot going on next month, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So has anyone had a bad experience with Brinks? Apartments, are those soft inquiries or hard inquiries? It's not out of my scope. It's a hard inquiry. Plain and simple. Do you have to pay for the Experian account to get the address enhancement? No, you can do it with a free account. Should you switch between Metro and Factual or just do one method and stick to it? So here's the thing. Different people do things differently. What I will say for me as a credit repair specialist, I always start with factual disputing. Number one, because Metro 2 can get expensive. Nobody is telling y'all that, but that's why they charge y'all all that fucking money. Like thousands and thousands of dollars. It's because Metro 2 can get expensive. And I prefer to do factual disputing because if I can get it off doing it the easy, cheaper way, right, for everybody involved, it's the best option because then you'll have more money to pay off any debts that you may have to pay off. Now, if you've gone through the entire, for me, it's an escalation thing, right? In the military, we call it escalation of force. Shout, show, shove, shoot to warn, shoot to kill. So the factual disputing process, that's my shout, show, and my shove. Now, if I need to escalate it, right, and I'm like, I did everything that's within my, scope of responsibility when it comes to factual disputing, and I want to escalate it to Metro 2, that's something different. There are some people who come right out the gate with Metro 2. Sometimes they have results, sometimes they don't. There's people who only do factual disputing, and sometimes it work out and sometimes it don't. So it's really kind of like a preference thing for the person who's doing the repair. But I mean, me personally, I do factual disputing and then escalate to Metro 2 if it comes to that. Ever had an issue where lenders couldn't have Equifax pull their credit? I called Equifax, no freezes. It could be that the information that creditor is reporting on you does not match with what Experian is reporting. And so they're like, this sounds like a trap. I'm not doing it. And so they won't give it to them. How would I obtain your services? So at the bottom of your screen, if you're looking at me from this camera right here, which you are, my website is floating around at the bottom. It's www.themoneyplug.co. My website has it to where if I'm doing any workshops, you can go to my store if you want to do DIY and you can purchase templates. You can book me for an audit. You can book me for credit repair services. Anything you need to know is definitely on my website. Is it okay to buy things with business credit? I've been hearing lots of gurus speaking on purchasing cars and etc. I hate that conversation because everybody and their mother is telling you how to buy a car with your business credit, and like making it sound so easy. And I mean, low key, it's not hard, but it's not as easy as they're making it seem either. But anyway, Yes, you can buy things with your business credit for your business. That's very important that you kind of make that distinction. You can buy stuff for your business with business credit. Are cease and desist letters a thing? I mean, yes, you can type one up and send it in, but it won't remove the account from your credit. That's where the lie comes in. I can tell somebody stop talking to me, and that's fine, but that does not eliminate the obligation to the debt that still exists. How does somebody become a credit repair specialist? The requirements vary depending on your state, to be honest with you. How long does it usually take for utilization to report or credit report? So most credit cards only report once a month. So as long as you do whatever you're like, make whatever payment you're going to make before your statement date that month, it will report that month. Do I need to send letters certified mail? No, you do not. Does North Carolina have any credit repair limitations? Yes, each state has its own like rules, regulations, guidelines on what is and is not allowed as far as repairing your credit, not necessarily repairing your credit, but as far as like consumer law protections, as well as like if you're hiring people. Like, for example, y'all know I talk about Georgia all the time. It is a Georgia state law that you cannot provide for-profit credit repair services for consumers unless you are a lawyer, a real estate broker, or a nonprofit organization. So each state has its own guidelines and stuff like that. So it's important for you guys to know what those are. Can I get rid of it and would it help? Can you get rid of what? I don't know what you're asking me. I'm so sorry. What is Metro 2? It's a style of reporting. I mean, it's a style of disputing. I'm sorry. Asking because this month my Navy Federal Credit Union credit card did not update on Equifax and TransUnion. It's all about when you paid and when it reported. So, and that's something you'll have to take up with Navy Federal. Would you mind answering a quick question for me, please? Sure, I guess. Is CPN and trade lines legal and helpful? So here's the thing. CPNs are illegal. The way that they are being advertised is illegal. The CPN master classes that are popping up on Facebook are illegal. And the reason why is because the whole point of a CPN, right, is to conceal your previous consumer history. And that's where the legality is just thrown out the window. Now, it's true. In situations where it is not federally required for you to provide your social security number, you do not have to provide one. And a lot of people will put CPNs there as the social security number. And it's not necessarily the number itself that makes it illegal. It's the intent behind that. You are using the CPN to conceal your previous consumer history because you know if you applied for this with your social, you ain't getting it. That's where the illegality, I guess you could say, kind of comes in. But yeah, CPNs are illegal. So stop fucking buying them. Especially because y'all getting hit with more than like 1 or 2 charges. It's like fraud, identity theft, if they can prove that CPN is actually a social security number. And it doesn't matter whether you knew it was legal or not. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. If booking your services, are you limited to provide credit repair services in North Carolina? Are you asking me, can I provide credit repair services in North Carolina? Because yes, I can. The only state that I cannot provide credit repair services for is Georgia. Another state that I am not taking any more clients from is South Carolina for my own reasons. I'm just not taking no more South Carolina clients right now. I'm at my max. It usually reports on the 8th of each month, but this month it didn't. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to reach out to Navy Federal like, yo, did y'all report this shit to credit bureaus? Because like they're not updating. Somebody's not saying something. Also, when is Plugged In University dropping? So I told you I had to push it back from September 1st. Not that it's anybody's business, but I have a lot going on in September. I'm traveling for a convention. I'm moving. So yeah, my little cute setup that y'all see here is coming down, y'all, because I'm moving. So y'all gotta help me pick out like stuff for my new office. But on top of like my husband and I have something that we have to do. So it's like a lot going on in September. So I'm gonna have to move it back to like mid-September, but it's coming. And I'm actually excited because it's not platform specific. So that's a little hint I'm gonna give it to you guys. It's not platform specific, and it's very interactive. It's going to be, for those of you who don't know, he's talking about Plugged In University. We don't have a name yet. It's literally just called The Class About Nothing. And I'm going to be doing, instead of one large course, I'm going to be doing multiple sessions, breaking down the different parts of credit repair. And the first one we're going to be doing is the FCRA. And so we're going to be doing the Fair Credit Reporting Act, breaking it down, talking about things like common violations I see, what things you like have to know, what things you really should know, but aren't that big of a deal. Like, I mean, we're breaking it down all the way. But it's going to be a lot of lives. So if you are going to sign up for this, you need to make sure that you're going to be available, because the lives are the only time I'm going to be answering your questions for it, and everything else. But there's going to be more information coming out about that the closer we get to it. Oh, thank you for everybody who said congratulations. But yeah, so it got pushed back to mid-September, but we are going to start opening up signups for the class in the beginning of September. Had a collection company send a left stand, they closed my file and terminated the collection. Will it be removed from my credit report? Yes. There's a guy on here who keeps pushing Navy Federal credit cards, like increasing your limit. Ugh. I don't know why y'all be so obsessed with Navy Federal. There are so many other credit unions out here. Like, come on now. Y'all just be so obsessed with Navy Federal. When the gag is other credit unions are just as loose with their money. You do not have to have Navy Federal in order to get these high limit credit cards and stuff like that. Oh, you're so welcome. Not that's okay. I'll take it as a Halloween gift. I'm dead. But yeah, so September is a really, really busy month for me. So, but it's coming because I have certain things I want to go over with you guys before December, because in December, we're doing one big workshop where we're getting everything ready, because January 1st, I know a lot of people I'm going to get my credit together in 2023 on their fucking resolution board and whatnot. So in December, we're going to go through everything from top to bottom, what you need to get together, how to buy stamps. We're going to talk about how to write letters. And when I say we're going to go from top to bottom so that January, y'all can start working on your credit. And we're literally going to go step by step. Like, all right, we're going to send this letter today. This is exactly what you need to do. Like, that's what we're going to do. So I'm really excited for everything that's coming for the end of the year. But next month is going to be a lot on y'all. So if y'all follow me, I'm sorry now, because I'm going to be flooding y'all feeds. Speaking of Navy Federal, it's crazy. Marquis is like my sister, and we are part of Navy Federal together. Shut up. I hate you so much. One thing about people who got Navy Federal, oh, babe, we finna tell you we got Navy Federal. Vision board parties with no visions. That'd be so frustrating because, so I don't know how y'all do vision board parties, but when we do it, we don't just talk about what we want to do. We come up with a plan to do it, right? Because you can't just have this long-term goal and no short-term goals that's going to get you there. So what I'm hoping to do is a 2-day event where one day we identify what we need to do, what we need to have. And then the second day, we're going to set everything up so that when January comes around, we can just start sending these letters out and you know what's going to happen. For most of you, when it comes to credit repair and shit, y'all get in these groups and y'all think y'all pros only because you can repeat to me what someone said to you. So if I say, what do you send for round one? You can spit it out. But what you can't tell me is, okay, so if a creditor responds with this, then what do I do? Because you're not programmed to think like that. You just repeat what's repeated to you, right? I send this, I send this, I send this. But a lot of you don't understand why you send these things, or if something deviates from the normal path, how would you respond to that? And I think that's the part that we need to capitalize on for the rest of the year, explaining why you use certain letters, explaining why you need to know certain aspects of the consumer protection laws, so that you guys can have a better understanding of what is going on, not just the fact that something's going on. Paid a personal loan in 7 months instead of 3 years, and it didn't help my credit. Can I get rid of it? Would it affect me negatively? Yes, because you're going to lose that 7 months of payment history and those on-time payments that's tied to it. Remember, payment history is 35% of your credit score, so taking off those on-time payments is not going to help. How long does it take for items to show as removed from the credit report after disputes? They say to give them about 45 business days to see the actual change. Jesus. How likely will a factual dispute result in a deletion when a charge-off is being over-reported? There's no, you want statistics? It's literally, so a lot of you, and that's another thing, your situation is a huge determining factor in your success. So I have absolutely no history other than what you just said. My charge-off is being over-reported. I don't know. I don't know no details about your situation. And this is what I mean by like, y'all can tell me what's supposed to be sent. Y'all can tell me what's supposed to be said or whatever. But like, what's the background? Like, why do you believe factual disputing is in your best interest? What are you factually disputing other than that? If that falls apart, if they respond this way, how, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I need way more detail than that. Well, charge-offs, are automatically in a different category. You don't dispute them the same way that you would a charge-off after a certain point, simply because this is the company that you signed the original contract with. It's not like a third party. It's not a debt collection company. So it's a tad bit harder, but it's not impossible. I just honestly feel like learning the laws is the key, because I understand very well how to build credit, but the FCRA and FDCPA is just confusing sometimes. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, when it comes to credit building, like, knowing and doing is two different things. And I think for most people, like, y'all understand simple shit. Pay your bills, do this, do that. It's just the putting it into action. Like, for example, we talked about this earlier, right? Like, setting a budget. It's a difference between having a budget and then using your budget. I can make one all day, but I'm not going to use it, right? Like, that's what most of your problem is. So knowing the laws is obviously, everybody should know them, but really, you really won't see a return on the investment of actually learning it unless you're repairing your credit. That's when these laws really come into play. Is it bad when the credit card company closed your account due to no activity? Yes, because they're closing this account. What the truth about paying charge-offs? Do we pay them or do we dispute it since it's a third-party account? It's not a third-party account if it's a charge-off. If it's a charge-off, it's with the original creditor. Now, if it's a charge-off that's been sold to a collection company, then you can dispute the collection with the collection company all you want, but the charge-off is still going to be there. You see what I'm saying? So, and here's the thing about charge-offs, right? They're harder to dispute to get removed. That's like a fact. They're harder than collections to get removed. And so for most of you are like, oh, I'm trying to buy a house, or oh, I'm trying to buy a car, or oh, I'm trying to get a credit card. So you want a time crunch, right? You don't got time to be sitting here playing games. So for most of you, what I would suggest is just paying it. Number one, if you pay it, it's not going to re-age it. I know that's like something that was going around for a really long time. But somebody pointed out to me on Instagram on one of my posts, and I actually did another video about it. But when you pay a charge off or you pay a collection, it does not then re-age the account for an additional 7 years. It still remains on your credit for the remainder of the original 7-year time frame, right? So that's one thing. Now, paying it will improve your credit worthiness. It will not improve your credit score. And what I mean by that is your score won't go up, but how much money you owe, like how much money you have that you have to pay off, right? That goes down, which really plays a part. That's just like when I tell people that inquiries aren't really worth that much points, but you can still be denied for having too many inquiries on your credit report, right? Those are two separate things. So, what makes disputes hard? Oh, so for your question specifically, it depends on your situation. If you are on a time crunch, I'm going to tell you, as your credit repair specialist, I'm going to tell you to pay it. And the reason why I'm going to tell you to pay is because you don't have time for us to be going back and forth trying to get it removed. We need to get, especially if you're trying, most of my clients are trying to buy a home. We need to get your debt to income ratio down. We need to get the money owed down. So we need to pay this off, girl. We need to get your credit worthiness up. We can get those points in some other section, but we need to get the balance down. What makes disputes hard? That's a really general question. Disputes themselves are not hard if you can identify why you're disputing something. When applying for a mortgage, our married couple credit scores both looked at, only one has good credit. It depends on your state. In some states, you do not have to include your spouse. In other states, you got to include your spouse because they take their debts into account. But it really just depends on your state. What other questions y'all got for me? That was a really good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. That was not an invitation to ask me for your state specifically. If you've identified what state you live in, then you can easily search New York home buying laws. Or do I have to include my spouse in my home loan in New York? Because that's literally what I would do right now. I don't know New York off the top of my head. Pay the full amount off? No. Now, okay, so I'm gonna be real with y'all. So I asked, y'all know I love Rebecca. For those of you who don't know, her name is the.mortgage.mentor on TikTok. But I love her. She's a mortgage loan officer I think it's, I forgot her actual title, but she's been doing this shit for like 20 something years. And I asked her specifically, they don't care if you pay it in full or settle. As long as the debt is considered paid, that's all they care about. So if you have a charge off, right, and you settle for less than owed, who gives a shit? You paid it. That's what matters. I settled an account that was charged off. It improved my creditworthiness, but my score is the same. However, there are some charge-offs are being over-reported. Is it a good idea to do a factual dispute to get the account removed? What do you mean over-reported? Excuse me. Jesus, Mary Joseph, that was horrible. I had a collection removed. Is there anything else that can pull me down? So, okay, so let's go to how your credit score is calculated. There are 5 categories, right? And if you laugh at the fact that I'm taking my nails off, you're anti-Black woman. But there are 5 categories that are used to calculate your credit score, right? Payment history, that's 35% of your score. Credit utilization, that's 30% of your score. Length of credit history, that's 15% of your score. Mix of accounts, that's 10%. And then inquiry/new accounts, that's also 10% of your score. So these 5 categories are used based, like they look at the information that's on your credit report and they take those 5 categories and generate a numerical representation of how risky it is to loan you money or to give you shit. And so when you have collections, these collections are kind of part of multiple categories. So on top of the missed payments that led to the original account being charged off that are likely reporting, right? The fact that you have a collection is negative in and of itself. So even if you get the collection removed, if the original account, so the charged off account is still reporting, that could be also be holding you back. Not the fact that it's charged off itself, even though that is one of the reasons why you lost points. It's the late payments that led up to that charge off, because late payments are 35%. Well, payment history is 35% of your score. And those late payments led up to that charge off, which led to the collection. So all of that plays a part. So just disputing the collection oftentimes is not enough to recover all of the points that you lost. But it's a step in the right direction. Sorry, I meant what possible issues could arise when disputing items. That's a super loaded question. Anything can happen, literally. Like it literally can go 50-50. You either win the dispute or you don't. And it's super easy to talk about what happens when you win the dispute, right? It comes off, yay, right? That's when all of them be on here like, you can use my letters and it'll take away anything and it'll do this and it'll do that and it'll turn water into wine. Listen, at the end of the day, it's 50-50 no matter what letter you send. It can either go your way or it don't. This is why I tell people that disputing isn't something that you should just take lightly. You don't just do it and then just forget about it. You don't just do it and then not pay attention to what you're doing. If you're disputing, pay attention, stick with it, stay on top of it, take it serious. Especially because what a lot of you don't know is that if you've initiated a dispute, right, and then they investigate, after they investigate, they do not have to investigate again. So you don't want to waste your one chance, right? Your one shot at this. Thank you for your live and your time. You're so welcome. Ooh, what other questions y'all got for me? Oh, my back hurt. Thinking about closing my Indigo credit card, reporting for 2 years, bad move, $125 annual fee. I can't tell you whether or not that's a bad deal for you, because when you're considering closing accounts, you have to look at your profile as a whole. Closing this account, is it going to help you get closer to what your financial wellness goal is? Why are you closing this account? Okay, you're going to close this account, and then what? Like, what's the next step? So there's a lot of things you got to take into account when you're trying to decide whether or not to add or take away an account from your credit profile. 2 years isn't valuable at all. If you want me to be honest with you, credit cards aren't really considered valuable until 4 years. So you didn't even really get the maximum amount of points you could have got from this, right? So I'm late. Can we do a quick synopsis? I'm sorry, we can't be quick. I've literally been live for like an hour and a half. We've talked about a lot of different things. You're welcome. Right now, we're at the Q&A part where you just put credit questions in the comments and I answer them for you. If I'm trying to buy a home in the next 3 months, should I do pay to delete for collections? Absolutely. Should I continue to pay a closed credit card or try to settle? That's one of those things where you'll have to evaluate your finances. Can you afford to keep paying the credit card, or can you afford to settle? Because they're going to want like a lump sum. So kind of what works for you and what the lender thinks as well, right? Because just because you offer it don't mean they're going to take the deal. So you also got to think like that. Like, can I offer them enough that they will find this offer attractive enough to go ahead and settle? No, for real, Philip. I'm not going to say it, but yeah, for real. For those of you who were late, didn't stay the whole time, or whatever the case may be, you can always catch the replay on YouTube. My YouTube channel is WWTMPD. What would the money plug do? The replay is always posted on the YouTube channel immediately after I log off, because it's literally streaming live. So once I cut the stream, you'll be able to watch the whole thing over. I don't know if you froze on the response. Which response? I was freezing and y'all ain't tell me? Childish. What other questions y'all got for me? What new cards would you suggest for rebuilding credit? Whoa, shit. A lot of questions came up. Can I get late payments deleted without losing the payment history? So then you're not looking to get your late payments deleting. You're looking to get them forgiven. And yes, you can. But that is at the company's discretion. They don't have to do it. Have you decided on an undergrad major yet? Education. I did push it back a semester only because y'all know my kids just started school for the first time in 3 years because I've been homeschooling. And I felt like that was just a lot, especially with moving and everything. I just feel like it's a lot at once. Yeah, I picked education. What new cards would you suggest for rebuilding? Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to show you guys. I know I got it up. Let me see. I should still have it up because I was using it earlier. Yep, here it is. So on my website, oh, hold on. Let me change this. Hold on, guys. Wow. I'll change it to this one. And then let me take this off. Y'all can't see nothing that I'm doing. Okay, but listen. So on my website, if you go to my store, this is available for free. If you are on Facebook and in the free Facebook group that I have, you will notice that this is in the group files. This is called the Credit Card Cliff Notes. If you've ever taken my I recently did a credit building for college grads workshop for free. And this was when I created this PDF. Inside this PDF, it breaks down the different tiers of credit cards. If you look at the table of contents, you'll notice that down here it says rebuilding subprime secure cards, unsecured cards, bankruptcy approved cards, prepaid cards. These are the kind of cards you're going to want to take a look at if you are rebuilding your credit. Again, this is available for free. All you have to do is go to my website in the online store, put it in your cart, check out. It's called the Credit Card Cliff Notes or the Credit Building ebook. If you are in the Facebook group, you'll see it there, or you can just download it for free off my website. But it lists, I'll even show you a couple. Good rebuilding secured cards to apply for. And who's the Capital One Quicksilver Secured Cash Rewards Credit Card, Capital One Platinum Secured Credit Card, Secured Sable One Credit Card, Open Sky Secured Visa Credit Card. So, these are some options that you have. I'm not saying that these are the only good cards, but these are some examples. And if you don't like any of these examples, you can look for comparable cards by just searching it online. But yeah, so that's available for free for you guys. I'll go back to my original overlay. What screen are you using? What do you mean what screen? My computer screen? I have an iMac, is that what you're asking me? Or are you talking about my template? Like that sort of thing? I made that. I think I bought pieces and customized it or something like that. Anyway, I made it on Canva. I know y'all can't see that, so y'all probably don't know what I'm talking about. But if you ever go to my YouTube channel or watch any of my lives or anything like that, I have a cool border. There's a banner run across the bottom. There's sticky notes on there and all that other stuff. Yeah. So I made the template. You can make overlays on Canva, and then you just would upload it into whatever streaming service you're using. I was wondering if it is a good idea to do a factual dispute if the charge-off has been reporting for 12 months. I mean, you can, that it's grounds for a factual dispute. But I mean, again, this is also a preference thing. Do you want to do factual dispute or do you want to do Metro 2? Because you don't sound really convinced that you want to do factual disputing. Because you could literally go either way, but it's this is a preference thing. Because like I said, so for me specifically, I will always start with factual disputing and then escalate depending on the results. So that's just my preference and my system. If that's not something you want to do, you don't have to. What short-term loans can you use for building credit? I don't need a car. So Self, yep, Philip said it. Y'all know I love me some Self. Self has a credit builder loan that you can sign up for where it reports every month that you are paying into a loan, but actually what you're doing is paying into a certificate of deposit. And at the end of the life of the loan, so once you pay the loan off, you get a check for all the money that you paid into it, which I think is really, really cool. So you get some money and you build your credit. Depends on what you're looking for in a credit. Is Bank of America a good credit card? It depends on what you're looking to get out of a lender. What are your requirements? What are you looking for in a card? Like all that sort of stuff. So is a Goodwill letter the best way to go about that? If it's an open, actively reporting account, yes. If it is not, then no. I'm unsure. What is the best route to go? That's a preference question. I can't answer that for you. It's all about like, so, and I guess I should kind of elaborate, right? So even if you're my client, my job is to give you all of the options, right? All of the tools that I have available in my tool belt, right? Oh shit. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. I think it's people real name on TikTok. They're like, who the hell is she talking to? So that's a decision you'll have to make on your own. My job is to tell you, like, this is what's going to happen if you do this. This is likely what's going to happen if you do that. This could happen. Like, I tell you all of your options and then you make a choice. I can't make that decision for you. You can literally go either way. And if one don't work out, you can always try the other one. So don't think you got to do either or. It's, do I want to do this one right now or this one right now? I received a settlement request from a debt. Should I settle or pay in full? Oh, thank you so much for the rose. To be honest, that's completely up to you. You don't get extra, like you don't get bonus points for paying a debt in full. I'm gonna be honest with you. The lenders genuinely don't give a fuck if you paid in full or settled. How do I get Metro 2? Now, to be completely honest, I'm not sure if you're not a consumer, like a credit repair company, because like me or people like me, we have like people we go through and there's like a platform you get on and you got to purchase GAs and do all this other shit. Before an average regular consumer, I'm not sure if you want me to be honest. I would suggest doing a little Google deep dive, or talking to people that you find who sell GAs, which are for Metro 2. But I genuinely don't know if you're a consumer. I genuinely don't know. Oh, you're so welcome. So do I need to do a consultation with you? I mean, doing a consultation with me is not going to get you GAs for Metro 2 if that's what you're looking for. But if you would like a credit audit with me, that is so for those of you who don't know, I offer multiple services, but when it comes to credit, I offer two kinds of services. You can obviously you can sign up if you want me to repair your credit, or, and this is my most popular service, for those of you who are DIYing, if you live in Georgia, or if you just kind of want to do it yourself, it's called a credit audit. And this is where you and I sit down and we go over your entire credit report from the personal information section on down. I tell you exactly what's wrong, exactly what you need to do and what your options are to try to fix it, and things like that. So if that is something that you're interested in, yeah, you'll go to my website that's floating around down the bottom, themoneyplug.co. And then you can schedule an audit. But I mean, what it sounds like to me is you already have a good idea of what needs to be done. You're just kind of like undecided on how to get there. So I don't think you specifically need an audit if you want me to be honest with you. But again, I really don't know what you're struggling with as far as the decision. Oh shit, go back. I'm not reading the comments. Whoops. There we go. Oh shit, what time is it? Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Alexa, turn that alarm off.
10:20 a.m. alarm canceled.
I don't know why that was set. Y'all got any more questions? Y'all got anything else for me? Because listen, I'll get off quick. If y'all ain't got no questions for me, I will get off quick. And I know we went over a lot of information today. For those of you who weren't able to stay the whole time or you came late, my name is Markia. I'm known on social media as The Money Plug. If you go to my YouTube channel immediately after I end the live, you will be able to review the entire live. My YouTube channel is WWTMPD. What would The Money Plug do? And I have a lot of lives. All of my lives are recorded and saved there for you guys to go back and look. Look at the website I sent you. Is that you talking about the real estate one? Because I haven't had a chance to check that out, but because I know you said his class is closed right now, but I do need to take a look at it. Not friend, you make me sick. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at it. Probably not today because I'm tired, but I'm gonna take a look at it. I promise I'm gonna take a look at it tomorrow. Anybody else got any more questions? All right. Overview of what we talked about today. So we went over student loans, the effect the student loans is going to have on your credit. Who qualifies for the student loans? What is the student loan forgiveness plan? We talked about how to kind of recapture a lot of those points, different accounts that you can add, the effect that this could have on your home buying process. We talked about everything from late payments to collections to how important budgeting is to your process. If you're on Facebook, you should already see the sticky note right here. WWTMPD, what would the Money Plug do? That is the name of my YouTube channel. I do. So once that 10K hit from the student loan debt relief, I'll have 6K left. I still have to pay. Yes, you still have to pay. I think there's a sign up. I'll send that when I find it. Ooh, please do. Have you seen the girl saying you can get your car and down payment back when using your credit to finance a car? Girl, listen. John, I got in trouble for bullying previously, so I'm not going to say what I want to say. But what I will say is, listen, I can tell you something. She can tell you something, but it's nothing like going online and finding this information for yourself. I know a lot of you struggle with finding reputable sources, but if it's from the CFPB or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, those two people are probably the top of the top. This is where I get all my information from. If I can't verify something like that through them, I ain't going. And I'm one of those people where I got to see it for myself. I can tell you whatever I want. She can tell you whatever she wants. At the end of the day, look that ass up yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Because if I say what I want to say, I'm going to get blocked. There's a job listed on my history that I've never had. I want to clean my profile. Oh, that's easy. You can easily just be like, remove it. I've never worked there. Cleaning up your personal information isn't hard. You just have to make sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to. So like... I'm screaming. You know what, Leslie? That's hilarious. She said I'm over credit, but I'm going to still pay on time. I'm screaming. Cleaning up your personal information is super easy. It's you telling them what you want reporting, and then they're going to tell you whether or not they're going to honor it. And then if they do not, then you're just going to kind of dig a little deeper to see what accounts you have reporting on your credit profile that is reporting that information and dispute it there. No, for real. Okay, period. Can you do the same for a bank account? One is showing for me that I've never opened. Yes. Yes, you can. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go. I've been live for like an hour and a half now, and I think I'm hungry. Pretty sure I'm hungry. And I have a burrito downstairs that's calling my name. So y'all know what I always say. For those of you who this is your first time hanging out with me, please make sure you follow me on everything. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Leave me a review on Google if you've ever found some kind of value in the content that I'm providing. If you've ever been a client, if you've ever had an audit done, I thrive on positive feedback. So, tell me if I did a good job. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting. Before we get off, I'm just going to remind you guys, listen, you cannot manage your credit without managing your money, right? You need a budget. Everybody needs a budget. And one of the biggest reasons people don't have a budget is because they don't know how to create one. So I partnered up with a company known as Physical, and they not only will do it for you, but it's a customized budget and action plan that will get you closer to your financial wellness goals. www.FISECAL.com/themoneyplug. You will get a free customized budget and action plan. It only takes like 10 minutes as long as you have your income and your expense information. It's really not it's not a big hoopla. And then you will have a printable version available for you to keep in reference. And you also get access to communicate with a financial specialist. I'm dead. You also get the option to communicate with a financial specialist to try to go over your stuff to see, you know, where you can trim some fat or whatever it is you need to kind of get you to where you need to be. But that is all I have for you all. If you want me to come speak at your school or organization, this is my email address. You can always reach out to me. Y'all know I did open up my Q4 calendar for people who are looking to get me, but my dates are really booking up quick. So please, 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 please email me sooner rather than later, because I'm going to be closing my books again really, really soon with the rate everything is going. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all know what I always say. Live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills and wear condoms just in case it's not. And I will see all of you later on this week. I want to say Friday, but like I told y'all, this week is kind of hectic, so it might not be Friday. But I'll keep y'all posted on my Instagram story. But I'll let you guys go. Bye, everybody.